Hi everyone. Um, I wanted to talk today briefly about allergies and an emotional take on allergies. As everything, this is an invitation, right? And if it resonates with you, and if you stay listening, it just again has a good purpose for us to continue our healing journeys. And so that's kind of the intention of all of these communications I have with you all. And I was watching a video today about allergies from a medium kind of person, and it really resonated with what I have thought about how trauma happens, and it made a lot of sense, and also like it illuminated some stuff for me. And so I thought, oh, maybe I can communicate some of this to you all. And so basically, she says that allergies are responses of our psyche to a real threat or perceived threat. So basically, I hear that as saying that allergies are like a trauma response, which makes sense. Again, in my experience of things. And so, for example, if you had, when you were little, you had an traumatic experience, for example, the abandonment of one of your caretakers, and at that time you were eating peanut butter sandwich or something, you know, your subconscious, that at that time it's not what is it's a child, right, for example, would associate peanuts with abandonment. And so you will develop an allergy to nuts, for example, as part of that experience in the past. So, and then sometimes obviously allergies are about a real threat. So for example, if you're allergic to GMO products, that's not something that you want to heal from, but just do not consume the the foods that are going to make you sick in a long term if you continue eating them, for example. So there's a lot of discernment that needs to happen in those processes, right? But I felt like and so it's interesting because it really asks us to, if you have allergies, to sit with your own story, right, and see what could be, what comes up. It's basically a thinking prompt for yourself. And so again, even if you don't feel like that resonates as like a real cause for allergies, it could be a really interesting thought exercise that could lead you to know more about yourself. It definitely did for me, and I will share a little bit of that. And so, for example, when there are allergies that are to the environment, like the spores of on spring or on different times of the year, the allergens that are from outside could be related to more like trauma that happened outdoors, maybe even from past lives or part of your lineage. And then allergies that are like to milk or eggs or peanuts or nuts, or those can be more related to things that happen indoors. And so I don't have a sustained relationship with allergies in my life. I have had them sometimes, and so that was interesting for me to see when did that happen and why. So I actually started to watch that video because here where I'm now, I'm having really bad allergies right now, and it's I have had them before when I was living in Austin, but it has exacerbated here. And it got me thinking, because medicine really doesn't have a good explanation. They just said to you that it's something that happens, but they don't know exactly why it happens to me and not to my friend that lives next door. There is not like a full understanding of the cause of allergies in my perspective, just because Western medicine is only focused on it's not holistic. It's just focused on the, not just in the physical body, but it sees the body as separate. There's the lack of connection. It makes it really limited in what can see from the perspective of illness, right? And so my doctor just told me it's allergies, and I was like, but why now? I've been living here for so long in Texas, and it's just not. And he just really didn't have an answer, and he was telling me that some people develop it later, and at the end of the day, it just doesn't serve any purpose to continue because they don't have the response, right? And so, as always, for me, illness has been perhaps the greatest path for me, for everything, for growth, for exploration, because I have I have had constant-ish connection with sickness. And so it has been really something for me. And so I always open myself to guidance, and I was like, please, help me to understand what's up with my allergies. And I could go to meditate and see if I can pull something from the Akashic records. But in this time, I just encountered this audio, and this is what came up. So as an example, and this is an invitation, I'm showing you how the process could potentially work for you. It's hard for me to understand the allergies to the environment, to the spores that come from nature. I don't know yet. I'm not ready, I guess, to find out that. But just the mere question made me think about my other allergy, which is an allergy to cats. And so this is interesting again, because I did not grow up with cats, and my family is not, the one that I know is not allergic to cats, and I am. And so why, or what's going on? And it got me thinking of the first time I remember I got a reaction to cats. And just the thought gave me a great understanding of myself, because I remembered the first time I experienced allergies to cats was around maybe 2010, so 14 years ago. And that was a time when even 2009 maybe, but that long ago, it was a time where I was starting to explore my queer self, and I encountered my first queer community in my city, and a whole world opened up for me. It was one of the most important moments of my life, when I got to meet the trans community in my city, and the queer community in my city. And obviously I'm just saying, because if you know me, immediately understood that I was part of it, and it just changed my life. However, the environment, the social environment of the queer scene that I encountered, and that is actually very typical, or at least back in my days, was one of people that were experimenting a lot with their sexuality, and were very sexually open to discovery, and highly sensual and sexual, even in public. And for me, that was really difficult, because I have a sexual trauma of violence. And at that time, my desire to belong to the community, and really not having the tools to parent myself enough, had me sort of stay in spaces and moments of those interactions that were really scary for me because of my trauma. So they were having wonderful realizations about their bodies and their desire, but for me, it wasn't. It was re-traumatizing, just because I haven't at that time healed my trauma, that is actually located in my second chakra, the sacral, because that's the place where sexuality, sensuality, pleasure, creativity, life force, it's it's the vessel, the portal, that chakra for that. And I had a wound there. And so back into cats. it happens that as queer people are now, even some of them had cats, and we would have gatherings at their homes. And also the partners that I met at the time, they had cats as well. And so I remember that the first time I had a reaction to a cat was a beautiful white cat, and we were hanging out in this kind of gatherings with queer folks and trans folks, and we were having, I think, cooking and having some, I don't know, substances, I guess. I didn't do it, but at that time, I guess. But it was like all this environment, and then the sensuality and all, food. And I remember having my respiratory airways closed down and starting to like sound like Darth Vader and getting really, really sick. That was the first time that happened. And from there, I just couldn't stay close to cats anymore until now. Actually, I'm still allergic to cats at this time around. And so it could be that so that's the first moment I remember I had an allergic reaction to cats. It is possible that it goes way back, but I cannot remember the very first in this lifetime. So, and that's okay. I mean, I might not be ready for it, but definitely what I was realizing when I analyzed this scene of my allergy was that at that time I was rewounding my sacral chakra, and that I felt compassion towards myself because I didn't know how to do better to protect myself from energy or things, situations that I wasn't comfortable having. I just, stay there in silence. And so my subconscious related those, I believe, with cats, again, unconsciously, and that's how it all started. So this was very illuminating to me because I feel like there's a lot of work to do yet there. I didn't realize at the moment, but all of my performance art has a component of healing of my sacral chakra, even because performance art is an art form that uses the body as canvas, and there's always the tradition of nudity that I have used myself in my pieces, and there's always a reference to gender and wounding, but I was also realizing, again, I didn't do it consciously, that a lot of my pieces were healing my relationship with sensuality and with sexuality, even in a safer container that was this art form, that is this art form for me. And so that's how I have been trying to heal that part of me. And so basically what I'm offering to you is to take one allergy, if you have many, I mean one of if you have many, and kind of ask these questions of when do you remember was your first time, or the good thing with this is that we're very supported by spirit. So if you're gonna ask the question, things will just show yourself to you. I wasn't thinking about cats, so I was thinking about my allergy to the environment, and then I ended up doing all this sort of analysis of my past, and so once you have discovered what it is, that the cause of your allergy, then think about which part of your body, energetically got sort of damaged by the experience. As I was telling you, in my case, my sacral, and so I also know, and then once you have found that place in your body, or many, could be many places, then find ways. There are so many tools today to heal that. So in my case, for example, because the sacral is where creativity resides, I used my art as a way of healing, actually without knowing what I was doing, but now I can see it clearly. But also, therapy, regression, so many things that you can do, but the first step is to identify the things, right? And so I feel like, the sacral, it's connected to the third eye. So they can help heal themselves. It usually is you heal the lower chakra and then this one gets better. But for me, for example, I have also observed that through the development of my third eye, I have had a lot of healing in my sacral. So, you know, you just find your way, whatever makes sense for you to do to continue your healing journey. But I just wanted to share this approach because I feel like it's quite interesting and it could offer, you know, again, possibilities for you. So this was the message related to sort of like an emotional reading of allergies. And I hope it's useful for you and that you can also look at your own history and see if you find traces and things that help you to continue your healing journey. So that was all for today. Thank you for listening. Bye.